the David Goodman Reality and Truth Show. My name is Vanita Lambert, and I just want to thank you guys for tuning in today. It's always a pleasure to have an audience to talk to. The station is all about the community. It was created by David Goodman, who was a city sheriff, and he created the show years ago. I never met him, but I just appreciate the opportunity that he created for all of us to have this platform to bring information to the community and all types of information about COVID, of course, I'm going to talk about that, voting, and all types of things. So today, I just want to talk a little bit about COVID as per usual, because it's just a big part of our lives. And so the numbers are, we're about 57.2% fully vaccinated Americans, which, you know, the numbers are moving really, really slow, but at least they're moving. So I'm happy about that. I'm not going to complain. And it's somewhere in the state of Connecticut, we have somewhere around 88% of people eligible for the vaccine. They have at least one shot, and that's really good. I think the mandate is helping out a lot to get a lot more people vaccinated. I know that my husband works for Yale, so the last I heard from Yale Hospital, not the university, they had 89 unvaccinated employees out of all of Yale New Haven Hospital. That is phenomenal. And 49 of them were let go this week. So they have a very small number of unvaccinated people, but I guess they made arrangements to get it done. So that's just the latest on Connecticut. Once we get to herd immunity, which I'm a little bit confused about what that is, could be 80%, could be 90%. I just want everybody to be safe. And, you know, for me, the vaccination is not just for me, it's for my family. I have a 3-month-old newborn grandbaby, so who's not eligible for the vaccine. So if I'm not protected, I could inadvertently pass something to her without knowing it. So, you know, that's my reason, and everybody have their own reason for why they do what they do. But I just want to thank everybody in Connecticut for doing such a great job to crush COVID. We are, you know, one of the states that are way ahead of everybody else. I mean, 88%, that's really, really good. So thank you for that. Maybe I won't have to wear my mask when I go to the grocery store. I'm still wearing it there. I'm still wearing it. And you know, when I go to the gym and, you know, where there's a large population, I kind of wear it. But for the most part, you know, around my house, around my neighborhood, when I'm alone or when I'm just with my family or vaccinated folks, I don't have to wear my mask. And I'm going for my second Johnson & Johnson shot probably next month, sometime before Christmas, whenever I can get an appointment and get it done. So anyway, you do what you need to do, I'll do what I need to do, and everybody have their own reasons for whatever. Like I said, the choice is yours. If it were mine, everybody would be vaccinated. So anyway, enough about COVID. We all know what we need to do. So I just want to talk a little bit also about voting. I had Ellen Morgan on the show here a couple weeks ago, and she did an awesome job explaining to the community how to get involved in local voting. And it was something that I wasn't aware of, you know, a while ago, and I didn't know how to get started. Sometimes you need to know something before you can know what questions to ask, or before you can Google it, or, you know, anything. You need to know something. So she provided that need to know something on this show. And I used myself as an example when it came to local voting. Way back in the day, we knew nothing about voting, and we knew nothing about, you know, calling City Hall to find out anything about voting. So she broke it down. She did like a little pothole analogy. And that's how you get involved in voting. She said, whenever there is something wrong in your community, or for example, if you're driving down the street and you hit a pothole and it blows out one of your tires, what do you do about that? It's not your fault that you have to buy a new tire. It is the pothole. So what do? You contact City Hall, find out who your council person is, and that's how you get involved in voting. And you find out who your council person is, you go to them, you tell them to fix the pothole. If they fix the pothole, and maybe you'll like them. If they don't fix a pothole, then you probably won't like them because you got to pay for all the damage. But at least that's where you get started. You find out what your politicians are, who the politicians are, and what their policies are, and you put them in line with yours, and that's how you get involved in voting. Just a simple problem will get you involved in local voting. And local voting is more important to me now than the presidential election. I mean, of course, all elections are important. The presidential election, especially this last one, was, extremely important. But it is also just as equally important to vote locally, because the things that happen locally affects you directly. It affects, the pothole in the street. It affects taxes. It affects, your kids when you go to school. Things that, affect you directly in your community. You know how many community centers there are, hospitals, just whatever. So it's very important. And once you get involved in it, you'll find out just how important it is. And voting is the only voice that we have. I mean, we can sit around our house and, complain about this one, complain about that one, and what's not happening here and what's not happening there, but it's not going to change anything. It's not going to affect anything. If you complain to me and we're sitting on the couch talking about, I'm so tired of taxes going up and why don't we have a community center on this side of town, it's not going to change anything until you get out and vote. And that's your voice. You get involved in the community. You talk to your neighbors, see how they feel about not having a community center, for example, on the north end of Bridgeport or just whatever. And you get involved and you start voting, and that, that's your voice. That's pretty much the only voice that we have, because there's almost 400 million people in this country. So we have to use our voices through voting. And just want to remind you that November 2nd, there is another local voting coming up. So November 2nd is the date. Call, you don't even have to call anybody anymore. You can go on your phone and Google it, find out what district you're in, find out where your polling is, and, find out who's running, who's a Democrat, who's a Republican, what their policies are, and if they're in line with yours, then you vote accordingly. But it's important to vote. And that's going to happen November 2nd. So please make sure that you're registered, get all of your license and your paperwork in order. You have to be registered, and you have to show a picture ID. So those are just a little things that you want to make sure that you do. I don't know if we have vote by mail in Connecticut. I'm going to say, it's kind of late for that. I'm not 100% sure, but I wouldn't trust it. I mean, I'm going to be at the voting polls, but if you're unable to make it, then you want to try to get somebody to take you. If you need a ride to go vote and you don't have a ride, you can Google that, call City Hall. There are people that are willing to pick you up at your house and take you to your voting poll, wait for you, and bring you home if you're unable to do it. That's how important it is. We have volunteers all over the place that's ready to do that. So please take advantage of that opportunity and vote, especially us here, the Black and the brown communities. People, we weren't always able to vote, and even women of all cultures were not always able to vote. We had to fight to vote. People died, went to jail, and just all kind of things. So let's take advantage of them cutting the trail and their hardship for us to have this opportunity to vote. Okay, so that's enough on that. I just want to make sure I get that out there. I want to give a shout out to John. I think his last name is Blatch. He does a show on Tuesday nights right here on Soundview. It's called Sound Off. His show is from 6:30 to 7 o'clock. And so if you're in the community, you can watch his show on Soundview. I believe it's on YouTube as well. And he has a guest on every single Tuesday, like I said, from 6:30 to 7. But him and the guest, I guess they talk about whatever subject that guest happened to be involved in. If it were me, we talk about Medicare. And then they do that for 15 minutes. So from 6:30 to 6:45, they'll, have a conversation about a particular subject. And then from 6:45 to 7 o'clock, you can actually call in and voice your opinion on the show. And I have the number written down here, but anyway, I'll give it to you next time. I apologize for that. But you can look up on Soundview TV, and the number is there where you could call in on Tuesday nights. Just look up the John Blatch Show. It's every single Tuesday. It comes on at 6:30 and it ends at 7. And you are allowed to call in from 6:45 to 7 o'clock and ask questions about whatever the subject is. Or maybe if you are a community advocate, you may be able to request to be on the show. I don't know. It's an open mic, so you can say whatever you want. Just don't use no profanity, okay? Okay, so I just wanted to give a shout out to John because he's a young guy. I think he's in his 20s. He's like my son, and he's doing a really good job in communications, and he's really getting, some really good people on the show and getting some really important information out regarding voting, especially here in Stratford. Regarding all different types of subjects, religious, political, medical, mental health awareness, suicide prevention, just all types of resources and information that we need as a community to help us. Because, during COVID, when everybody was in the house for a year and everything was shut down, we all went through struggles. I mean, I'm a Medicare representative, and part of my job is to find out what each of my clients, what medications they're taking. And I can tell you, there are just so many people on anxiety meds. I mean, and depression, because how could you not be depressed with everything that's going on? The country shut down, or at least the state shut down. You couldn't go anywhere. You couldn't do anything. Like, everything was closed. People were losing money. Rents were going behind. You're getting, this terrible financial stress, which I know a lot about that. I spent most of my life, fighting for finances and, equal pay and this and that and the other, and brought up in a community where we didn't have a lot. So I can tell you personally, financial stress is not fun. And especially if you have children, how are you going to feed your kids? How are you going to, there's a lot of grandparents raising children too. So in my business, I see that a lot as well. And that's why we have those real long food lines and just all types of things going on. Everybody having on masks, so many hundreds of people dying every single day. So I feel like now we're going to the curve, I guess they call it, going over the curve. I haven't seen a food line in so long, and I thank God for that. Thank God for the COVID relief package, where they're closing the gap on child poverty by 50% by giving out those child credits. Those child credits help buy food, help pay the rent, and help pay for daycare. There's just so many things. I could see the country healing, and it's a beautiful thing. But during that year, getting back to my point, there was stress, there was depression, there was anxiety, there was drinking, there was gambling, there was just all kind of things, just looking for a way out. So thank God, now we're at a point where hopefully we are healing and there's not as much depression and things are opening up. And, the COVID relief package is providing relief, financial relief. They're paying rents for people and things like that. So that's really good. But anyway, this show, it gives you another voice where you could call in and express yourself. You could call in and ask for information, ask questions. And I just want to give a shout out to him because he's doing a great job. And I keep forgetting to call, but you guys call, okay? From 6:45 to 7 o'clock, you can call, okay? Also, I wanted to mention another really good cause. October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and I am fortunate enough to be a friend. I am a friend of a woman who had breast cancer, and she talks about her hard times and how she was diagnosed with cancer, how it all began, and how her breast cancer journey began, and what got her through all of her struggles. Her name is Grace Johnson. She's the founder. It's a nonprofit breast cancer organization called Covering My Sisters. And so this is a support group where if you're struggling with breast cancer or you're a family member or friend of someone struggling from breast cancer, you don't have to go through this alone. There is so much help out there. You don't have to, be in the same room with somebody. A lot of these prayer groups and support groups are done virtually. They're done online. They're done via Zoom. They're done over the phone until you get to know some of the people. And one of the things that I wanted to mention about having breast cancer or any type of cancer, or for that matter, is that I am going to be doing a life insurance seminar for folks with breast cancer because it's come to my attention that most people who have breast cancer don't know anything about the type of life insurance that they are eligible for. Most of them don't even try to attempt to get life insurance because they figure, they have cancer, no one is going to insure them. Let me be the first to tell you that is not true. I am a licensed health and life insurance agent, and I'm going to be doing a seminar, and everyone is qualified for a certain type of life insurance. It doesn't matter what type of chronic illness you have. It doesn't matter if you have cancer or any type of terminal illness. It doesn't matter if you're 100% handicapped. You are eligible for life insurance. And so this is the message that I'm going to be conveying tomorrow and presenting at this breast cancer awareness event that I'm doing. And I provided all different types of literature, and I put them in these pretty little pink bags with candy and literature and pens and stuff like that, just to make everybody feel good. And they all have one of my refrigerator magnets in it, so they will have my information. And what I'm going to do is offer each of them a free confidential needs analysis on the 4 areas that will impact everybody's life the most, which is your health insurance, your long-term care insurance, life insurance, and retirement insurance. That's just the 4 things, the 4 essential things that most people worry about. Another thing that I'm going to be talking about is the different types of life insurance. It's a lot of people already have policies, and they are not sure exactly what type of policies they have. I can review those policies and let them know exactly what they have. There's whole life, there's term life, there's accidental life, there's universal life, and each of them have a different meaning. which is in the guts of that contract. And so I will be going over those things with them. And then we're going to have some fun. We're going to have a pink paint party. So I'm looking forward to that. That's when you have an artist and, she give everybody a canvas and she teaches you how to draw a particular picture. So we're going to mix it up. We're going to have snacks and wine and have some fun. But we're also going to get some really good information on how to protect yourself, how to protect your family, and how to protect your assets. Another area that a lot of these women who have breast cancer are concerned about and don't know about is that they also qualify for some type of home health care plan. Now, back in the day, long-term care had the strictest underwriting. You had to be 100% picture perfect life in order to get any type of long-term care or home health care. But now, the rules they're not as restricted. There's different types of home health care plans that you can get without any underwriting. So people that have had heart attacks, people that have had strokes are eligible to have a home health care plan. And if God bless you long enough, and you live long enough, our bodies are frail. We are going to need some help. And so that's what this company realized. And so we're going to be giving out free information on how to protect yourself and having a home health care plan, how to protect your assets as well. And I'm really, really looking forward to that. And again, the founder of this organization, her name is Grace Clark Johnson. She is the founder. And all you need to do is Google Covering My Sisters. It is a nonprofit breast cancer organization for group help. You have group therapy, you have a family, and you have someone to talk to. It is so difficult to hear that you have a terminal illness or what you may think is a terminal illness at the time. And it's so easy to give up, especially if you're alone. So I'm here to tell you, don't give up. Seek help. Fight, and you can win. These women, there are a lot of people at this organization where I'm looking through here at the book, and I'm not going to give out any names, but, there's a lot of survivors who shared their stories and who came out. It says they came, they fought, and they won, and now they are considered cancer survivors. So if you have breast cancer, it's just not the end for you. It really isn't. So reach out and get some help for that. This is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and we just want to make sure everybody has as much information as possible when it comes to breast cancer. So I'm looking forward to that tomorrow. I really am. I love getting in front of a bunch of people, presenting solutions to their problems. That's what I call it, solutions. And everybody has problems. I don't think any one person is all set. And if you are all set, it doesn't hurt to confirm and then listen. Maybe there's an area you missed. For example, a lot of folks, we talk about having wills. Does everybody have a will? I don't know. I have mine. But a lot of people think, oh, I don't have any money, I don't need a will. There's so many reasons to have something like a will. If you have young children, okay, this is the reason I got my will, because when I was raising my kids, I didn't have 2 nickels to rub together. I was paying daycare, mortgage, all of our money went out. But someone approached me and asked me, did I have a will? Actually, it was my cousin, Johnny. I said, no, I don't have a will. I don't have anything, I can't even pay for a will, let alone have one. So he explained to me, he goes, you have 2 young children. What if you and your husband went to the movies and there was a fatal accident and you never returned? Who's going to raise your children? I couldn't think of a better reason to get a will at that point. I took the little 2 nickels I had to rub together and I got myself a will. And, and it said in my will, we had a house, we had life insurance. I think we had like one timeshare, but I was borrowing from Peter to pay Paul at that point. But somehow I managed to borrow from Peter to pay for a will. I pay for it monthly. It's very inexpensive. And what I did is getting this service, this legal service that I got, it came with getting a free will. And it kind of like give you all these templates, because I don't know how to do a will. I'm not a lawyer. So it kind of just, it's like a giant questionnaire. It asks you questions about your assets, about your family. And then there's a space where you can free write. And what I did, I wrote, if anything were to happen to me and my husband, I designated my very best friend, Diane and Tony Paul, to raise our children because I knew they would do the right thing for the kids. So if you have young children, don't hesitate to get a will, because sometimes the wrong people raise your kids for the wrong reason. You might have a big insurance policy. I have a huge insurance policy. I'm worth more dead than alive. So my kids are grown now, so it wouldn't matter to anybody who took my kids. But some people have huge insurance policies. They have little children. It could be family members, it could be friends, it could be whatever, and they could want to take your kids for the wrong reason. So you decide now who's going to raise your children if you have little children. If you don't have a will, get a will. So these are some of the things that we talk about to help you prepare yourself and to prepare your family. So you want to protect yourself, protect your family, and protect all of your assets. So I have about 30 seconds left. I'm going to end this with anybody who needs a free confidential needs analysis. I'm licensed in the state of Connecticut, and I give you all this information for free to help you plan your future and to help you protect yourself, protect your family, and protect your assets. And with that note, we're out of time. I just want to thank you so much for joining in. This is the David Goodman Reality and Truth Show, and we're on your side.